My name's Chris Eyre. I'm the Southern Cheyenne Arapaho filmmaker from Rapid City, South Dakota. And I'm here to show two of my movies. The first one is called Skins, which stars Graham Greene, Eric Schweig. It's about two brothers that live on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. One's a tribal police officer, and the other is a alcoholic that he has to take to jail from time to time. Then the other movie that I'm showing is a movie called 1,000 Roads, and it is the signature film for the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. It's a short film that's about 40 minutes long, and it's basically a day in the life of Native people in the Western Hemisphere. There's a story that takes place in Peru, a story that takes place in Alaska, a story takes place in New York, a story that takes place in New Mexico, and in Vancouver. And it's basically a day in the life of these characters in a short film format, which is about 40 minutes long. And that one's called 1,000 Roads. My heritage has influenced my work in every way as an artist that I can think of. It was purely about trying to touch Native people like myself that I got into filmmaking. I used to look at old photographs, and for me the camera was about trying to touch people within those photographs. And eventually I started, depicting characters, but it was purely a way to try and touch something within the frame. And so I started into filmmaking through photography. I did still photography, and from there it just kept going. I started doing video, and then I started doing films, and that was 25 years ago or something like that. I don't consciously say I'm going to dispel stereotypes, but I love making contemporary movies about Native people because it's the one arena that Hollywood, or for that matter most America, can't portray. And the reason they can't portray it is because they don't know it. Every society or culture is a living culture, and it changes within the current context and time and place that we're at. So there's not a writer in the Hollywood Hills that can describe accurately what the Navajo Reservation is and what those figures there, or layman kids, may be described as. So for me, I enjoy portraying contemporary people that I feel like nobody else can portray except Native people. I think most anybody can relate to the themes, whether they're minorities or women or people that don't necessarily speak the same language. The great thing about film, and hopefully is the case in my movies too, is that it's always about transcending the components of the movie. So in the case of 1,000 Roads today, it just becomes about human beings. It transcends all the race factors and cultural factors and gender factors, and it just becomes about people in the end. And that's really what you're going for, At the end of the movie, you want people just to say, wow, this is human beings, and you've identified with their experience. I have a movie that I'd really like to make called A Whale Hunt, and it's about the Macaw Indians in Washington State. And in 1999, they did a traditional whale hunt, which hadn't been done in over 100 years. They had a cultural renaissance of sorts, in that the gray whale was taken off the endangered species list in 1995, and under their treaty with the U.S. government, they have the right to whale forever in their agreement with the U.S. government from 1855. Now these are people that have been whaling and using that subsistence way of living for 1,000 years or longer. And what they have culturally is something that's older than America. And so, I'm a proponent of Native people and Native rights. The hierarchy is that, the Creator, made the human beings and the human beings ate the animals. That's just the way it was created. So in this case of the Macaw Indians, in 1999, they made an expedition of the traditional whale hunt. They took a gray whale for the community, and people in the United States flipped over the fact that they killed a gray whale. But that's what's interesting about a movie. That's what's interesting about the movie Skins, is that it's social commentary. And as a filmmaker, you don't have to have the answers, but you tell people where to look. And the story of Whale Hunt is a movie that is an incredible movie if I can get it, if I can get it financed and made. And so I look forward to making a Whale Hunt, hopefully in the coming years.